Boy, I wanted to come to Africa. I wanted to come just travel around the world.
What began as a joyful fundraiser at Perfecting Church in Detroit, led by renowned gospel singer and pastor Bishop Marvin Winans, quickly turned into an emotional and controversial spectacle. The evening was supposed to be filled with hope and excitement as the congregation came together to support the church's long-awaited building project, KA. With smiles, songs, and prayers, the church community hoped to raise funds for a new worship center, a dream that had been promised for years. However, when a seemingly innocuous moment turned into a public shaming, the atmosphere shifted from joy to shock. This unexpected incident would go on to spark a heated debate about faith, money, and leadership, exposing deeper issues within the church and its leadership. The tension unfolds. Bishop Winans calls out a member's donation. As the fundraiser proceeded, the atmosphere in the church was vibrant and hopeful. The choir was lifting spirits and members were ready to give for the new building project, KA, which Bishop Winans had been talking about for months. The offering was being passed around when the totals were read aloud, but something unexpected happened. Bishop Winans, standing at the pulpit, pointed out a member who had donated $1,200. His tone, once warm and encouraging, turned cold and stern as he publicly questioned the amount, asking, "After all the Lord has done for you, this is what you give." The entire room froze. His words pierced the sanctuary like a sharp gust of wind. Was it a lesson in generosity, or had he crossed a line? The immediate backlash, shock and disbelief. As soon as Bishop Winans made the comment, the church's once lively atmosphere shifted. Many congregants were in disbelief. Was this a joke, or was the bishop seriously calling someone out for their offering? Some thought it was part of a larger sermon on sacrifice and faith, but others felt deeply uncomfortable, unsure of how to react. To make matters worse, a few people recorded the moment, and within hours, the video went viral. Social media exploded with reactions, and the public's response was swift. Some felt the bishop's words were humiliating, an example of how pastors sometimes manipulate their congregations with guilt and shame. Others tried to defend him, claiming that his message was about accountability, teaching people how to give from the heart. The video, however, left many questioning the sincerity of Bishop Winans' approach. A deeper revelation: the members' struggles. As the video continued to circulate, new information began to surface about the individual who had been publicly called out. It was revealed that this person had been struggling financially for months, and many people began to suspect that the $1,200 donation was a significant sacrifice for them. Some reports even mentioned that the member was a single parent, doing their best to make ends meet. This revelation ignited further outrage. Many people felt that calling out someone for making such a generous contribution was not only unfair but cruel. The bishop's words seemed to show a lack of compassion, especially considering the personal challenges this member was facing. It became clear that what had started as a fundraiser had now turned into a question of grace, empathy, and what it really means to give from the heart. The church's financial struggles and growing distrust. As the controversy continued to grow, it quickly became clear that this was not just about one comment or one person's donation. Perfecting Church had been raising money for a new building for years, but the promised construction had yet to be completed. Members had contributed time and time again to fund the project, but little progress had been seen. This history of unfulfilled promises and ongoing fundraisers had created a sense of frustration and doubt among the congregation. People began to ask, where's the money going? Why hasn't the building been finished? The public shaming of one member's donation only intensified these questions. It was no longer just about a single act of giving. It was about trust and accountability in the church's leadership and financial transparency. The bishop's silent and growing divide. In the aftermath of the incident, Bishop Winans remained largely silent. He made no public apology or clarifying statement, and this only fueled the controversy further. His silence was interpreted in many different ways. For some of his supporters, it was seen as wisdom, an unwillingness to be dragged into further media frenzy. For others, it looked like avoidance and a refusal to take responsibility for the hurt caused. Meanwhile, the divide among the congregation grew wider. Some people stood by their pastor, insisting that the comments had been misunderstood and that Bishop Winans was simply trying to challenge people to step up in their giving. Others felt betrayed and disillusioned, wondering how the church had gone from being a place of hope and spiritual refuge to one of guilt and shame. The internet reacts. National debate on faith and money. What started as a local incident in Detroit quickly turned into a national topic of discussion. The video and subsequent comments exploded across social media, reaching gospel blogs, Christian discussion pages, and news outlets. The internet became a battleground, with people expressing strong opinions on both sides. Some condemned Bishop Winans for using his platform to shame a member publicly, while others defended him, arguing that his message about faith and accountability had been misinterpreted. The controversy sparked a larger conversation about the role of money in churches and the ethical boundaries of fundraising. Many people began questioning the culture of megachurches and whether leaders like Bishop Winans were focusing too much on money and not enough on spiritual growth and community. Behind the scenes, the pressure of financial expectations. As the public debate raged on, insiders within Perfecting Church began to reveal more about the pressures the church leadership had been facing. Sources close to the church suggested that the fundraiser had not been going well, with donations falling short of expectations. Bishop Winans' frustration with the situation may have been the underlying reason for his outburst. The long-delayed building project had created significant stress, and it seemed that the bishop had hoped that the fundraising event would provide the financial breakthrough the church desperately needed. In his eyes, the $1,200 donation might have felt like a symbol of how far the congregation was from meeting those goals, leading him to lash out. This insight provided a more sympathetic view of the bishop's actions, but it didn't excuse the way it was handled in front of the congregation. The call for healing and transparency. In the wake of the controversy, some members of Perfecting Church called for healing and reconciliation. They wanted a space where they could openly discuss the issues at hand, express their feelings, and receive an apology or at least an acknowledgement of the pain caused. They longed for transparency from the church leadership, asking for clear answers about the long-awaited building project and the use of funds. However, the road to healing would not be easy. Trust, once broken, takes time to rebuild. While some members hoped that the bishop could learn from this incident and regain their confidence, others felt that the damage had already been done. The church had changed, and it seemed unlikely that things would ever return to the way they were before. A moment of reflection, a lesson in leadership and grace. As the dust began to settle, it became clear that this incident wasn't just about one pastor's mistake. It was a reflection of deeper issues within the church and the wider Christian community. It raised important questions about the role of money and faith, the ethical responsibilities of church leaders, and the impact of public leadership. The controversy also served as a reminder that leaders must lead with humility, compassion, and transparency. One wrong word, one moment of frustration can have far-reaching consequences, especially in a church where people place their trust in their leaders. For many, the incident became a lesson in grace, both for Bishop Winans and for the congregation. The real challenge now was whether the church could heal from the wounds that had been opened and whether the bishop could find his way back to the heart of his ministry